Kelly Mason, welcome to the Love Notes Lounge. So glad to have
Well,
you here.
I'm so glad to be here.
Yay. Well, what I'm doing is having a series of conversations with authors from the Love Notes anthology. And I've known you for a few years. It's been a minute
Yeah.
since we lived in the same place, but I so intentionally invited you to be in this book because I love your writing. I love your voice.
Oh,
And
thank you.
so tell me, your story is called Love in the Third Act. What made
Yes.
you choose that topic? Well, obviously the theme of the book, but what led you in that down that particular trail of narrative?
Well, because it's actually happened to me. I really was at the point where I thought I was okay living alone for the rest of my life because I'm in my 60s and I haven't been married forever and have been living alone and taking care of myself and not minding that. I have children, I have friends, I have a dog. I'm telling myself you don't get all of the boxes necessarily, right? But I'm
Right.
checking a lot of boxes there, so I have a good life. I have a career that I enjoy, all of these things. And then this lightning bolt thing happens to me, and it changed my life. I changed my geographic location. It changed everything. And I'm actually getting married again. Never say never. And that's what made me write the story.
And you did
Because I
it,
say in the story, if you'd have told me this 6 months ago, I would have called you crazy. And yet here we are, you
and
know?
yet here we are. So you framed it as the story of finding love later in life as the the literary devices of completing a well-grounded story. Is that right?
Yes. I often write from personal experience. I don't necessarily think of myself as much as a fiction writer as a nonfiction writer
Mm.
because I love true stories so much. I'm always collecting them or listening for them. Ironic things really appeal to me.
Me
Uh,
too.
who knew? But no, a big lover of ironic things or irony. But I've also used true things in fiction and composite characters. So it's not that I don't ever write fiction, particularly if it's real personal. Sometimes it's hard to be vulnerable and tell the truth. So it's easier to give it to a character. But in this one, I put it all out there. I had a great editor, by the way. So
Oh,
I knew I
wow.
was safe.
It was so much fun editing this book. That's a whole other conversation for another time. So much fun editing this book. But you are widely published. Have you published in other anthologies?
No, I have not. I've been published in Lancaster Literary Guild a lot, so monthly magazines and things like that. And that one is actually a nonfiction magazine. So I've done several things for them, and I've written for different trade magazines and things like that. But no, this is my first byline in an anthology in a book. So I'm very excited. I have magazines and newspapers and things like that, and now I
Right.
have a book in my collection. So
Yes, you do. And maybe more to come.
I hope. I hope. I have now time to write more than I've had in years. So that in itself is new for
That
me.
spaciousness is so delicious as a
Isn't it
writer,
nice?
isn't it?
It
It's like,
is. It
"Ooh,
is.
what will I do?"
And that way I'm always working on something. It's percolating along, but now I have actually the ability to go right away and write something that occurs to me and save it. And I do have idea banks and things like that that I draw on. I'm doing more of intentional idea mining lately, to find something that I
Mm.
really want to work on.
Tell me about your idea bank.
So, it can start casually. We actually were Art is also a writer, was approached by a lady who wanted to do romance novels because they're a big thing now. They just have like romance boutique bookshops and
Oh,
things like
yeah.
that, right? And when we were first dating each other long distance, we started working on a screenplay and sending scenes to each other. So when she approached us to write this book, we were like, well, we already started this, right? So we changed it to book form and we started to work on that. So I'm always thinking about what's happening next in the plot of this evolving story. And it's really fun to co-write with someone that you love and that you know, because you can really bounce ideas off each other. And actually, it's easier to take criticism from someone who you actually love, and
Love and
respect.
respect, yeah.
Yeah. So there's that. And like I was saying, I'm always listening for ironic things or snippets of conversation. I'm often out and about during the day. I go to the dog park with my dog, and the other day somebody said, I'll be moving into an apartment. I won't have to live in my car anymore with my dog, so I can keep my dog. And I thought, oh, that's something I want to
That's
remember
juicy.
somebody said.
Exactly,
Yes, yes. So
exactly,
there's
yeah.
things like that all the time,
Right, right,
you
right.
know.
Love that. How fun.
Yeah,
So what are
yeah.
you working on now and what's next for Kelly?
Well, my son is a very talented artist, and he has moved to the Austin area to try to do more with his artwork. And he did an illustration of a bear that was like a van life thing with surfboards on it and all kinds of stuff. And so we just started goofing around with Wave was a bear that didn't much care. We named him Waverly, Wave for short.
Of
Wave was a
course.
bear that didn't much care for things for which other bears care. And we just started making
Mhm.
this little children's book about that. So I told him he owes me 32 illustrations. I gave him rhyming text. I used to teach little kids. So I know how important
Rhyming
a good
text.
story is, and rhyming text, and have them listening for things, or having a chorus that they can repeat. So we say over and over again that Wave was a bear that didn't much care, so that they'll be shouting it out by the end of the book. So that's one project. And then I have a couple of short stories that I'm tinkering around with.
Very
Yeah.
fun. Very fun.
Yeah.
There's
And then
always
saving headlines. If I see a headline, like I indulge myself with the New York Times on Sunday. So if I see a headline or read something in there that I think might be interesting, then
mhm,
I mind that a little bit further. And then my everyday work is, I write things for realtor blogs. So I'm always looking at housing trends, interior design trends, things like that. So I'll save things that are work related that I can pitch for upcoming writing work. So
very cool.
lots of ideas. I'm
Excellent.
an idea person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So you trade in ideas. Since Love Notes came out, I've been teaching a couple of archetype classes because the stories all rose up with archetypes and they were speaking, they wanted a voice. And one of the archetypes that I developed was the philosopher poet. They
Mm,
they traffic in ideas. They love to
yeah,
play with ideas. So I think that authors kind of fall into that realm. There's that everlasting curiosity about everything and how does this
that's it.
idea meet this idea and does it create something new?
Right, right. I had a similar experience. How would I have responded to this experience? How would I not respond? And why do these people respond this way? You know what I mean? Like I play with all of those ideas all the time. I love to be devil's advocate every chance I get,
Oh yeah, oh yeah, oh yeah.
and say, what if you did this? What if you did that? What would the end result be?
Love it. Oh,
So
I will play with ideas with you anytime.
yeah, let's do it. If you remember Duncan and Rabbit Hill Writers Group, one of the things that stays with me to this day is that writers need writers, because
Yes.
other people don't really get this.
No,
So if
they
you
don't.
are a writer or trying to be one,
Mm,
not only read everything that you can, read good
right.
things, but
Yes.
also seek out other people who are in the trenches like you are, trying to learn how to do this and how to improve. And write every day something, because
Yep.
it's a muscle. It really is a muscle. The more I
Yes.
write, the better I write. So,
Absolutely true. I love
yeah.
it. Well, I'm sure people will be reaching out to you for more wisdom.
Well, I hope so. Or just, a funny story. Maybe
I
not
love it.
maybe not wise, but I do have a sense of humor, I hope.
That counts too.
Yeah. Yeah.
So much fun talking with you, Kelly.
Yeah.
Huge love. And I'll see you in Austin one of these days. I think that we should plan that.
Please,
I love it.
please come. It would
Okay.
be great. I'll show you the town.
Fun.